Now, as we move through recovery, we become more and more aware of the cost, do we not? We start to realize, wait a second, there is an actual cost that goes with this. And we start to kind of investigate that a little bit. And at times, it can keep us from acting out because we know that the shame and the guilt and all the crap that comes with that is not worth it, is it? So we can get to a point where we go, okay, or the benefit is not there. It's all about perception, about what you perceive. So there's no real benefit here, is there? Not even a little bit. But we think that there is. And why do we think that? It's because we do get a dopamine kick from that, but we also get a crash on the back end. And that comes in the form of shame and guilt, overwhelm, and feelings of hopelessness. And we've all been there, right? We've all been there. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the idea that there is a benefit in acting out, right? And we hear this from our addict self, like, oh, you had a hard day. You deserve it. What's a little bit going to matter? And we hear that as if it's some sort of reward. And we've heard that, right? You've probably heard that from your addict self, where it's like, you've done really well. You deserve a reward, as if drinking poison is a reward for ourselves, right? We look at it and go, okay, I know you want to act out, but that's not good for us. It's not going to solve the issue. So we explain to the addict, we don't get in a debate, we don't get in an argument, we don't get in a back and forth. We explain to the addict why acting out is not going to serve us and why it's not going to help us, and we're not going to do that, right? And that takes authority inside that space, and it explains to the addict that acting out, this is one of the things I talked about with my addict a lot, was very much informing him that, look, I know that you don't, and this is a reminder, on a subconscious level, you know, your addict doesn't experience pain in the sense of shame and guilt and those things, right? And you go, well, it feels, yeah, but it also feels great. It's like, yeah, but we can do things that doesn't have the pain and suffering piece that also feels great and is good for us, right? So you want to explain to your addict what's going on. And then what we want to do is ask them, what can we do besides acting out? But the key there that I'm talking about with the perceived benefit is one where we look at it and go, okay, I need to explain to my addict that there really isn't a benefit here because it's perceived. If a benefit has a downside, it's not a benefit, right? It's not going to serve us in any real form or fashion, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to give you this burger, but by the way, you will throw it up in 3 hours. You're not going to want the burger, right? Like, it's like, I'll pass. I don't want that. Even though it tastes really great in the moment and it looks good and you're like, oh, this would be so good. If you knew you were going to throw it up 2 or 3 hours later, would you eat it? No, you wouldn't. So it's very similar. I'm going to look at porn and then later I'm going to feel terrible about it, or I'm going to act out sexually and I'm going to feel terrible about it, right? It's the same kind of concept. So it's easier for our mind to go, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be fine. Plus, we're using it as a coping mechanism. And this is why it's so important that we look at this and go, we're not removing the coping mechanism, we're replacing it with healthier coping mechanisms, right? And kind of wake our brain up and go, listen, I know that you see this as a perceived benefit, but it's not. It's not going to serve us. It's going to cause problems. It's going to put us sideways. We're not doing it.